I feel like now you're waiting for me to talk more, and I need to talk more.
Hello.
Meow, 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 meow.
Okay.
Oh, shit, my vape. Oh, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get...
You can do a Zen.
I'm going to do a Zen so I don't look like an idiot. You know? Also, I need one more fluid just in case I run out of other fluids. Okay. Let me do one pop really quick. Look at all this collection.
Okay, wait, I need to get my coffee.
Do I have autism?
Whee! The more I hear about autism, I think I might be somewhere on that spectrum. A very, very functional person, but even with like me not understanding when people get why people are upset, I like it like that. I'm like, it's not a big of a deal. It's part of it.
Hello.
You're gonna have to.
I just bit you.
Go over here. You're gonna have to put some behind because it's gonna scratch on the mic, and then it's gonna give you that sound. It's a choice. Let me know if you think this sounds stupid.
Let's show you the first part.
Welcome to Between Two Lenses. I'm Kale Vox.
And I'm Alex Zach.
Together we're here to explore the world of photography and creating through a different lens, a more honest lens and from a less technical perspective.
As two female photographers, we navigate a unique journey filled with challenges, triumphs, and joys of creating art through our lenses.
We'll be talking about our work, reacting to yours, exploring the impact of beauty standards in our field, and what it's like being a woman in this industry.
So whether you're a seasoned photographer, a beginner, or just someone who appreciates honest chat, we hope to inspire you to see the world in a new light and maybe make you laugh a little.
As Reinhardt said, art is too serious to be taken seriously. This is Between Two Lenses. Let's get into it. Hello.
Hi, I'm Alex Zach.
And I'm Kale Vox.
And we are on a podcast.
As you know by now. I think we're getting close to 10, right?
Are we 10?
Oh yeah, no, we're not. We've only released 6 by now. This will be number 7. We're also cutting this one in. We're just like pushing them back, so the numbers aren't going to make sense anymore. But it's fine. I'm going to edit it. It's going to make sense in the end.
It's going to make sense.
But we need to get this second part of Sepia Gate done. That's what it's about today. So our second reaction to Sepia Gate. Because now we have the photographer side, because before we just had, in the original video, we only had the client side. So now we're reacting to the photographer side, because there's 2 sides to every story. And the client left some stuff out, which is important. And I did go back and put like a description, like little, but people are missing that. So we had some comments being like, well, the photographer actually said this and did that. And I was like, I know, we know. We're getting to it, okay?
We're getting to it a little bit.
Well, and we didn't, when we filmed that, this wasn't out. And now it is. So now we can react fully.
How was your week, though?
Oh, my week was so good.
Good.
I shot, but I also did makeup, which I'm not trying to do anymore, but I did it anyway, and it was amazing.
She's really good. But don't call her and ask her to do it.
I'm really good, but I just don't want to do it. I'm really in the stage of my life where I'm really trying to cut out things that don't bring me joy, period. I don't care if I'm like the best at
Including humans.
Yeah.
No joy out. No joy out.
It's important. So I'm doing that. And then I did a dance class. I'm back in dance.
Okay.
It was very humbling.
Why?
Because I haven't taken dance in 17 years.
Were you
the
like
Bollywood
left leg?
Classes don't count. That's like fun dance. This was like actual dance. And I haven't done that. And I thought it was 10 years, but it's kind of like when you think the 80s is 20 years ago, but it's not. The 2000s is 20 years ago. My mind works like that with dance. I got like stuck, but it's been 17 years. So it's almost been 20 years. And I forgot how to move my body.
It's so weird to say that.
So weird to say that.
Yeah, I just got done with the shoot today, and the little girl that was here, she was great. But she was like, how long have you been doing this? I was like, oh gosh, over 20 years. And she was like, because she's like 17.
She's doing the math, right?
Yeah.
But also it's because we don't look our age, thankfully. So I get that a lot too. When I used to do more in like work in the skincare industry, I would help women with their skincare choices. And I had a couple times where people would be like, you're like 19, what do you know about anti-aging.
Like, actually, I'm 107.
Right. I mean, I'm not. Like, I just use good skincare. I'm actually 80. Just kidding. You're going to have to speak up, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
How's that?
That's good.
Okay.
That's a good level.
I feel like
how was your week?
It was busy as hell. Really busy. I'm really tired. I'm kind of on the, and my cousin came into town and he's in film and lighting. We did like some really fun stuff. That was great. And I've just been shooting a lot. Not as much editing, but because I have retoucher, girlfriend, just a lot of work. I am like very tired, very blessed and booked, but very tired.
Booked and busy.
Booked and busy. So after tonight, I have a break for like 6 days.
Oh, that's good.
Where I can like do laundry and stuff like that. So I'm excited. But yeah, super, super busy, really fun, a lot of different projects, some huge corporate ones coming up, fun editorial ones, and yeah, it's been good. Slammed.
As usual.
Slammed and, what's another word that would go with slammed? Slammed and spicy. Slammed and glammed. That was good.
Wait, let me make sure this is recording. Now I have PTSD from that one time when it wasn't.
One time we filmed for a really long time and it was not recording. Okay. Is it recording?
Yeah.
It's good?
Yeah. I'm just going to have to...
It's like the garage door though. Like, do we shut the garage door? Do we shut the garage door?
I know.
Do we lock the door? Did I turn off my straight ironing?
That's part of my OCD. I check my coffee pot that it's off like 10 times before I leave.
My veins right now.
Killing it. Okay, so we're reacting to the Sepia Gate photographer. Go. She did a podcast.
I like together. I'll let you guys know what I think as a wedding photographer.
Spicy.
When you met with your past client, everything like that, did you when like you did your consultation and you talked to her, did you ever send her a full gallery of images that she could check out, that she could like see your work and get an accurate representation of, you know, what you do, your editing style?
Right. Yes, I did send one full gallery. Definitely was a gallery that I was super proud of, was super on brand with my style. And she also did look at galleries on my website as well. So she reached out initially asking for a gallery. And then she also said, oh, actually I found some on your website as well. So she did see multiple. Yes.
Yep. Okay.
So in our first, I was like, well, she hired her based upon the warm tones and everything's about the warmth. So like she saw what she was signing up for, even more so than we thought before.
Yeah. And because that was the initial, people were not sure like if she saw like, you know, like the full body of work or different options. And apparently she did. And did you see her Instagram?
Yeah.
This photographer's Instagram? Everything is warm. Like she does use this. It's a very specific editing style on everything. She is a very consistent photographer. Her work is amazing. Beautiful.
Really pretty work.
Super pretty. And if I wouldn't go to her if I wanted anything but what she does, because I can clearly see that's what she does. So we were off to it's totally different story now.
I'm also feisty today, so.
Ooh, I like a feisty edit.
I have to edit.
No, she'll
like, don't say that. Don't say it.
I'm like, tell it like it is.
So what was the initial reaction like when you sent the gallery over to her, the final gallery? I know it was 2,000 plus images, so, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, wait. That was the other information we did not know at the time of our first podcast on this, because we were back and forth kind of, because I was like, well, it's probably hundreds of images usually, because event photography is usually 150 to 300-ish for me photos. And Alex was saying, well, we don't know, maybe she gave her 50. So if she gave her like 50, she should have retouched more. But she gave her 2,000 finished photos. Have you ever given somebody that many photos finished? I mean, that's mental. I don't know anybody.
I don't want to like kill myself, so I know.
I don't know. I literally do not know one photographer that would have given that many. So she had plenty. So 2,000 is wild. I thought, I was like, even if we're pushing it, it might be like 500. 2,000.
But then she was like, with the client, it's like her threatening, don't make me put this on social media. It's like, I would probably do the same thing. She left that part out. She said first, don't let me put this on social media. And then she was like, I will sue you for slander if you do.
She left a lot of stuff out. The photographer, I don't think, came out
Your
until.
eyelashes look good.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Until she had to, because it was so much, information floating around, circulating, where people doing podcasts and reactions. And I think it's good of her, because some people would have just like not,
Yeah. So what was the initial reaction like when you sent the gallery over to her, the final gallery? I know it was 2,000 plus images, so which is a lot of photos to deliver. I know how much that is. So yeah, obviously, you were there before the wedding. I saw you photographed, I think, the rehearsal dinner. You delivered those photos, the wedding day as well. So there was a lot of photos to deliver.
There were so many photos.
So 2,000 plus photos you delivered. How was her reaction when you sent the gallery?
She was raving, honestly. You have a lot of clients. I'm sure you're experienced with this too. A lot of clients just send like, thank you so much. And I appreciate, any response to Wedding Gallery, but she definitely went above and beyond in her response, all caps. We love these, was super excited about them. I sent the full gallery.
That's when I would have.
She said she loved them. And
screenshots.
And I would have just, when she started coming for me,
for us.
When she would have like switched up her tone a month later, I would have just sent her the screenshot, because this is what I was saying, that this is when the first one that we did, when I paused the first time.
Yeah.
When she was like, well, I loved them at first, and then I was looking at them for a month. I was like, this isn't right. Something is not right.
Makes you think that she did it all for
what?
Just
how many photos do you normally give? I know, because you do a lot of branding, so you're doing 10 to 15 usually, right?
Yeah, so if they do a longer shoot, it's an hour and a half, so they get 20. I just do to keep it simple for me, it's an hour, they get 10 images. An hour and a half, they get 18.
Okay.
If they get 2 hours, 20 images, but then that's it.
Yeah, but
and then you have charge. Then I charge extra per image.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
Yeah.
And
do you do any event thing where you would do more than 100?
So I did do an event, and the max that I would do is 75 really great ones.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I have done a wedding before, and I think I gave her total 100.
Yeah.
And it was rehearsal and wedding. It's how many pictures do you need of me being
Yeah. Well, and that's
but maybe you do. But I don't. 2,000 is she's complaining about one image in her makeup in that one image. Well, and they were not high-end retouching. 2,000 for what? How much did she pay for again?
8,000.
Yeah.
But for 2 days, so 4,000 each day. So that's 1,000 photos per day broken down.
No.
That's
taking advantage of the photographer then.
Yes. And that's actually.
And I 100% would have been you owe me $4,000 for the raws then.
Yeah, 100%. And that also, she gets to that too. It actually wasn't for the raws, it was for the copyright. She wanted $3,000 for the raws.
Oh.
So she also left a lot of stuff out. But we're going to break it down
But
today.
I'm going to still be.
gallery. She said she loved them, and I would say probably within a day she started having, I think there was is there maybe a shot of these photos with family that from the rehearsal dinner, or could I get these black and whites in color, just little things, and then it kind of started to build. So
Gotcha. Okay, so the request started happening after the full gallery was delivered.
Okay, so she actually did, because we were talking about how when a blanket preset doesn't look good on every image, you could do some in black and white or some in a different preset. But as long as the whole thing as a group looks good as a group effort, right? So we were saying you could have done that. But apparently she just said that she did have some in black and white, so she probably did do that. And the client asked her for those in color. But I'm telling you from my experience, when I decide if I'm going to do some in black and white and some in color, I decide if something looks better in black and white, that goes in black and white. And if I decide it looks better in color, it'll stay in color. But if it's in black and white, it's probably because it looked better in black and white.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Or, I give the option. I'm if you like it, at the end of the day, it's the client. So it's if you think it looks better in black and white, cool. If you think it looks better in color, cool. I just want them to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
So I always give 2 folders. All their photos are always in black and white as well.
Oh, you
Yeah.
give all of them in
Black
color
and white.
and
So
black
they're
and white.
color, and then they're all in black and white, so there's no problem. But she would have I was just talking to a photographer that's newer the other day. She was renting out the studio, and I was asking her what are her rates and what she's charging, and she was charging not a lot and 75 images to retouch from studio for the rate. And I'm like, no, because then it is less is more. Getting extremely amazing, awesome shots of that one scene, just a couple. You don't need 50 of the same look where you're slightly different. It doesn't make any sense.
I know.
Just getting the best one.
I think I'm learning that because I think we talked in our first or second, probably our first episode, about how it's really hard for me to narrow down, cull out my photos because I like a lot of them. For my own creative stuff. If you're a client, you pick your proofs. It's not my job. I want you to have full control of that, so you can't say I don't like them because you chose them, But on my creative stuff, it's sometimes very, very difficult for me to narrow down. So what I've done is I shoot less, I shoot quicker. So I have less total options because I know what I want. So I shoot really efficiently once I'm actually behind the lens. Everything else, the setup, takes much longer than me shooting. I shoot super quick and efficiently. I know what I'm looking for. And once I have it, I'm out. I'm moving to the next thing. So I've done that. And I'm also really trying to get better because I also was sending with my test shoots. I would send, and I'm still kind of bad because I'm really trying to learn, but I'll send 70 photos from a shoot just because I can't narrow down.
I know, when you first shot me, I was like, holy crap. I was like, she sends. And then I was like, fuck, I got to do that many back now.
No, but
so I was like, all right, now I have to
no,
do
but I'm
75
trying to break
back.
that because what I've noticed is that people love them, but it's almost like what he was saying, you kind of lose, they're less special.
They're losing
I guess.
luster.
Yeah, because it's too many choices, right? So you're a little bit overwhelmed. So you're not really sure what to post. If you have 5 photos, your favorite 3.
Yep.
If you have 50 photos,
she charged. It was $8,000, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so just not even her time to actually shoot. $8,000 divided by 2,000.
$4 an image.
She paid $4 an image,
which is
nothing.
No.
And not including her time.
Yeah, for editing or for, I don't know if she has a retoucher but
they're
more expensive
right?
than $4 an image. That's mental. But no one is going to, like she said, no one is going to use 2,000 images ever. And even for major branding, they're not going to, even if they need 50 photos, they're not going to use 2,000 on a website. It's just absurd.
But again, if that client wanted 2,000 photos and she paid more than $4 an image plus a photographer's time, then we'll make her happy.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's
but it wasn't $2 an image. It wasn't. Sorry, that's absurd.
And we're complaining about. She had 2 of them that she really didn't like, right?
Yeah, she had 2. Well, and I think she decided over time that she didn't like the full color tone. Oh, go away. It's my bestie. I was making sure he wasn't messing up our audio.
Oh, go away.
I'll call him back. This whole thing, 2,000 images is insane. Don't send. You don't have to send that many. And I kind of agree. Even me sending 50 to 75, I am trying to limit my creative things to maybe send 10 to 15, max 20 per look to somebody. And that's hard for me, but I have to do it because I do think people will appreciate those small numbers better and be able to choose from that. It gets if you're looking through 2,000 images, it's a lot. That's a lot.
Way too many.
Too many. I don't even shoot 2,000 images.
If you have, each look should have 5 to 7.
Yeah, I mean, that's good.
That I'm culling, and then maybe I'll give you 2 or 3 out of those.
Wow.
I'll go through and be just these 7. If the client, I always ask my clients too, I'm do you want me to pick them out for you, or do you want to see them? They're no, we want them to cull down really small, or I want you to pick them out. So I just make it so I always I go through, I have 3 stages. I go through and I only heart the ones I'm okay, their eyes are open, their fingers aren't weird, hair looks cool, heart. Then I get the break. And I go through that 200 or 100 of them, and I really look at them, and all the ones that I'm wow about, those are usually the ones that then I pick out of those. Then I take another break.
I've done that now recently, where I'll do a round of culling, and then I go back later, and I've actually realized when I let things sit for longer, I'm better at that. I'm recently starting to edit some creative projects that I love and I'm obsessed with, but I haven't had the mental time or the physical time to give them the energy they deserve. So I've been sitting on them for a long time, but I'm just now starting to get to them. And I am much more effective when it's way later, me being like, no, yes, no, yes. I'm very cutthroat.
Yeah.
So I think that's also
You lose
another
your
good trick.
emotional attachment.
Yeah, I think when it's new, I'm like, oh, I love everything.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, love this. I either love it or it's not. It needs to be a fuck yes or it's a fuck no. Yeah.
So, and then sometimes what's really weird though too, side note, is that like I'll, depending on my mood, I will look at the ones I didn't heart and I'm like, why didn't you like that one, Alex?
I don't do that. No.
I'm like, that one's the best one. Why would you do that? Why would you X that one out?
Like I rate the ones that I like 5 and
That's
then
hard.
I go from there.
Heart mine.
Oh yeah, because you do it on, I do all my stuff in Lightroom.
I know,
My calling,
cousin's
you
always
do,
on. My cousin's like, why do you do this?
you do it in photos.
I add one more step. I do it in photos and then I put it in the Lightroom.
I do 2 step. I do in Lightroom. I X out everything absolutely
Should we change
trash.
chairs?
No.
I'm like,
No.
She's better posture.
No, I don't. I'm working on it though because I don't want to be hunchback. I go through on Lightroom. I X out all the ones I hate, and then I delete as a bunch all of those. They go right into the trash can. Never want to see them again. Don't want anyone to see them ever again. They go into photo heaven.
Yep.
And then I go back and level 5, the ones that I really like, and then that's what I choose from. So I do have a 2-step, which is in Lightroom versus photo. Anyway, back to it.
Delivered for changes, tweaks, things like that, which is common as wedding photographers. We get those requests. You know, it's my mom's blinking or my dad's squinting or something like that, where we have to make corrections, or maybe we picked the wrong photo out of the batch. Did you start making a lot of tweaks and changes to the images that she was requesting, like the simple changes?
Yes, there was definitely a few things I would be 100% willing to do, just to make a client happy. And I'm not going to just whip out, you need to pay me for every little thing, of course. But it did get to the point where I was like, this is going to be a lot of photos to make little changes to or tweak, etc.
Because you gave her 2,000 photos, girl. You made your life harder. Sorry, but I mean,
I only edit once at this. If I'm giving you 2,000 photos, this is it.
Yeah, I mean no one has time for that. She has other clients. That's insane. And she did say, because the client I think initially right off the bat said that when she asked her for small changes, she was just like, no, you got to pay me $4,000. But that actually isn't the case from the photographer side. She said that she actually was willing to go in and make small changes. I do that too. You get small tweaks. Things that are
I feel like we need screenshots of the text.
Proof, receipts.
Because what if this one's lying?
I know, we don't really know. But it's good to have 2 sides. And this girl seems so sweet.
We need the reality, though. We need the third side, what really happened.
Yeah,
we need screenshots.
Your side, my side, and the truth.
Yes.
I don't like when people start leaving stuff out to make your story sound better. I start thinking you're the problem. The client left a lot of stuff out that if she would have said, I don't think people would have been as gung-ho about her being in the right?
Burn her at the stake.
And so it makes me question. I'm like, now I do think maybe the photographer was just doing her job, and then this client is just asking for too much for too little.
Going through 2,000 images.
That's true.
Of your personal, you start looking and we're like, oh, this is shit. I hate this one. So-and-so's eyes are closed here. Why would she pick that one?
Mm-hmm.
I've had friends with having wedding photographer experiences where they did not pick their images, or they were given the images and no one's eyes were open. And
why would the photographer even leave that in as a choice?
I don't know, because they didn't want to go through 10,000 images.
I'm much more mindful about shooting though now, my actual clips.
Yeah, actual clips, but then but it's also it's the thing that kind of blows my mind with certain stuff like this. Not saying that this photographer did it, because I have no idea, but if the client's getting a ton of images at a really good rate, it's just you might not like all of them. There's a photographer that she charges $350 for the hour and she picks her 15 images. If I don't like 4 of them, it's well, I've got 11 that I like.
Right.
Cool.
And so like you were saying, out of 2,000, I'm sure there was 20 in there that she loved that she could have posted. For that
I'm
price,
sure there were 100.
Yeah, I mean 2,000, come on, girl.
We don't know. I wish we could see the gallery. I wish she
I
showed us
know.
more than just those 2 that she had a problem with.
But even the one she did though, remember she showed like the ones from the wedding, the day, and then the rehearsal night,
Oh,
like the difference. So we saw a lot of them and they were beautiful.
Yeah, this is true.
And obviously, you know, that's a lot of work. So I did charge her my hourly rate at that point.
Yeah, that's very common when, you know, like a client starts requesting an absorbent amount of changes to the images. The edit she was requesting, I saw, was everything from you know, like enhancing makeup, like head swapping, like dad squinting, things like that. At any point, was she, you know, upset with the coloring of the images with you? Like, did she get upset with like the overall toning? Or like you have a very golden style. So did she ever get upset with the toning of the images that she wanted that to be completely changed?
Right. No, not in the beginning at all. There was never any coming back and saying these are too warm, these are too golden. There was never any verbiage like that. The main thing that she was concerned about with editing was just her makeup. She really wanted these. There was a few photos of just her.
2,000 images though, like download PixArt. You know what I'm saying?
What?
Like I was like, if someone sent me 2,000 photos, and they like, and I didn't want to retouch them, or I didn't know how to retouch them, like I would download an app and smooth out my makeup.
I'm on the photographer side. I'm always that person. I love the clients as well, but good work boundaries are really important, or people will
99.9% on the
your client side.
I'm like, no, they're always right, but I don't. This is kind of shitty though.
I'm much more like protect the creators because we get ran over a lot, and our time is hella expensive because it's a lot of work. So I think it's important to like set strong boundaries. And this is what I was wondering about the coloring, because like the wording that she was using, like enhancing the makeup, that has nothing to do with the color tone. And you brought up, you were like, well, maybe she doesn't know the verbiage, but she did, because she kept saying preset, preset, preset. So she knows what a preset is, obviously, because she was accusing her of just slapping on a preset. So what she should have done is said, can you use a different preset? Right?
Yeah, just batch them or.
Mm-hmm. But she didn't say anything about that in the beginning. It was more like, and this is kind of more work.
Know too either, like, so, but then again, on the client side, like someone will say something to me that I'm like, I'm not really quite sure what you mean by that. Like, or I make sure I'm like, this is what this is, and then this is what that is, so that we can like make sure that we're on the same page of what we want to shoot and what we want to do.
Well, I think what your suggestion about sending an example, like, is this what you mean before you do 2,000 re-edits?
God.
So she just said like head swapping and stuff like that. That is a lot more work. So I could see where it got to the point where she's like, okay, well, minor color tweaks here and there. That's not what you were asking for. You were asking for major changes, like me to go in and head swap somebody.
I'm so sorry. I wasn't
tired. She's been working.
Photos of just her, and I think maybe one of her and Mike as well. So there definitely were photos of her, maybe a few with her and Mike, where she said, my makeup doesn't really look how I feel like it looked in real life. My hair is looking a little bit redder than it looked in real life, etc. And she wanted tweaks to her hair and makeup. So that is when I said, sure, I will fix that for you. Like, I will obviously endeavor to fix that for you. And so I did go about enhancing her makeup. I did not, there has been speculation that I photoshopped makeup on, or I don't know exactly what people think that we do in editing. But it was really just a matter of like saturation sliders, color, stuff like that, just trying to enhance things that maybe she felt were a little bit dull. So I did do that thinking that is what she wanted. I came back with those images. She said, this isn't what I want.
I noticed that when she did say, like, I did what I thought she wanted, it's like, it's the assumption thing.
Yeah,
like,
that's what you said.
Don't assume that's what she wants. Like, send her a proof of like one thing. And like, I really do think when I have a client, and I'm like this too, if I spent $8,000 on images, I would be like, especially being a photographer, I'm like, well, what are you doing? Oh, and I have the terms as well. So then that would be, a handicap for me, that I would know what to do. I would be able to better explain what to do with the photos. But sharing a screen with your client, like, it's not hard. Like, we can share a screen, you can show the editing, you can be like, do you like it this way? Do you like it this way? And you can save it.
Came back with those images. She said, this isn't what I want. Can I have the raws? So for those specific images, mostly of her. And
okay,
at that point, that's when I was like,
for just those specific images, she wanted the raws.
Well, the ones that she wanted re-edits on. So I guess the ones that she re-edited, she was just like, that's not what I meant. But we don't know how many she asked for re-edits.
That's another thing.
Yeah. Like, how many was it?
That's when I was like, okay, I don't think, I thought that I did what you wanted. I don't know if we're going to meet a mutual agreement on your makeup specifically for this. So obviously we as photographers never, ever give out raws, but it was just a moment where I thought, you know what, this will make the client happy.
Now, did you send raw photos to her so that she could take a look or, use them at her discretion?
Yes, I did. After a little bit of back and forth with her, I came to the place where I just kind of realized we weren't going to reach a mutual place on the editing, specifically just for her makeup and a little bit of her hair, I believe, as well. I came to the place where I just kind of realized we weren't going to reach a mutual place.
Yeah, I think that like giving examples would have been, we keep saying that, or I keep saying that. It's like, and I like to show people, like, it works to my benefit. So I have like a proof gallery, and then I have the retouching, right? So I just had someone recently that was like, I don't like how you Photoshop my hair. And I was like, interesting, because I didn't. So look at the original. And they're like, oh, my hair actually just looks like that. Will you actually take it down and make it not look as full as it is in that image? I'm like, I can do that. Because like, well, you can't remember what you looked like all the way that day.
Yeah.
So like having that reference of like going back and forth of like the raw to like the edited and looking them side by side, the client can do that their own time. It's huge.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't send proofs when I was a new photographer, because I was like, these aren't good enough.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh wait, I just want to make sure I can like, but now I'm like, they're good enough raw, and I'm more confident in my craft that I'm like, and I know what they're going to look like afterwards.
I send a disclaimer when I'm working with clients. I always send proofs. I always have, but I always have also sent a disclaimer saying, these are only proofs. Nothing has been done to them, not a stitch of retouching, no cropping, no straightening of the image. This is literally just auto-corrected so you can see what's going on. So don't look at anything else except for your body language and your face. Make sure you like those things. Everything else is going to be cleaned up.
No, that's a great, I forgot. I say the same thing, but it's like super important to be like, here they are. But
I think at this point I probably would give, what about this color? What about this color? And I have done that before, but I like to get from there, what do you want it to look like? Send me a Pinterest photo that you like the color of, or you like the way that it's edited. And then I can easily emulate that.
Exactly. I think too, like, even though, we are artists, right? Like, photographers are artists. It's just, but I guess I'm so client focused is because I get to do what I love and do the creative things. I'm like, okay, the clients, I try to make them happy and do the best I possibly can for them, because I am working for them. It's not like this art is going to a gallery.
And we talked about that as well.
Like, you know what? It's just like it's my gallery. It's my gallery show. Yeah. And then of course I'm gonna be like, I'm not fixing anything. Yeah. It's my work. But it's for clients. Like, if you want to have shark, alligator, half man skin, I will do that for you on 2,000 images if you pay me.
Well, and that's what we were talking about last time. That that's the difference in client work and your own creating. Yeah. When it's our creative stuff, we can do whatever we want. We shouldn't have to bend to anybody. But if someone's paying you to do things, they should be happy.
But you mentioned too in the beginning, like having strong boundaries. It's like
within reason.
And I just started doing something too. If like we might have an hour shoot, but if it goes over to an excessive point, I charge for that hour. and no edits are included. It's just my time, which I think is huge too, is like being like very boundary centered. And that was a really good point that you made.
Yeah, people respect you more, especially as women. Women are really, really terrible sometimes because we are like nurturers, and we want everyone to be happy and people to be happy with us. Sometimes we get in our heads about saying no or doing anything that could upset anyone else.
Right.
But what I've realized is that actually is just in our heads most of the time. Like if you think about the way that men go through life, they really do not, I mean, they take it too far usually in general, but they don't really act like that. They just kind of do what's best for them, and they kind of lay down the law, and they're seen as all of these things like go-getters and bosses and CEOs. No one questions it. No one even bats an eyelash. We've talked about that in the first one as well. Yeah, but if you're a woman doing that, you're hard to work with, you're a bitch, all the things I've said. But I'm kind of realizing that's our part of that. Part of it is societal pressures, obviously, and like bad, like centuries of placement where we're supposed to be. But part of it is our own internalization of like our fears of what's going to happen. Are these people going to be upset at us? Or is our client going to be mad at us? And what I found professionally is that that's actually usually not the case. I've never had that be the case, actually. What happens is the opposite, is that people respect me more.
Yep.
They respect my time. They respect my craft. And I still have excellent relationships with my clients, and they still love me. None of it is true. None of the scary things like, oh my God, they're going to hate me. Oh my God, they're going to think I'm mean. Oh my God, they're never going to work with me again. None of that has ever been true. They just respect my time. And then there's a mutual respect, which has to happen for good working relationships. And I think as a creative, our time is money. I think the older we get, our time is all that we have. You can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have time to use it or enjoy life, what is the point?
We're going to reach a mutual place on the editing, specifically just for her makeup and a little bit of her hair, I believe, as well. She asked for the raws. That was something that she brought up first, and I gave it some thought. I definitely didn't want it to be something, again, with ego, which I've heard a lot this past week, where I wouldn't give her just a few photos over needing it to be my finished work. I obviously never expected the raws that I did give her to go where they have gone. So I gave those raws with a lot of trust, just wanting to make her happy. So yes.
So that's another thing with boundaries that I learned the hard way, is that I have them sign a legal document that if these are released, I will actually sue you.
And that's what should have happened here.
Like,
she should never.
And it's never happened that anyone's ever been like, no, she's not. They've never tested it, because most of my clients, most humans respect the boundaries. 99.9%.
Well, I still think we are going to do an episode on raw photos, because people just really don't understand at all this situation. But like I mentioned in the last Sepia Gate reaction, photographers, videographers, whoever's actually shooting the content owns that content, period. Unless you've signed a contract giving it over, which is very, very rare, and you get paid for those rights as well, which didn't happen here. So I mean, this is exactly what could happen. You never know where your raws are going to end up. So if she wouldn't have sent those under good faith or whatever, this would have never happened. She wouldn't have been exploited on TikTok. Learning lesson. She'll probably never do that again.
Like anyone that comes on my set, I have an NDA, a non-compete. I have all the things that everyone signs. So like anything that we talk about, or like I worked with a stylist forever ago. This is when I started doing it. I'm like, I know that Kale's never going to F me over, but she came onto the shoot. And so I have something that people sign when they work with me, is that you can do other things with the client that I have, right? But if you came onto the shoot, you worked on the shoot within like a 6-month period of time, like just 6 months, you cannot take my client that you met through me, through my marketing, through my branding, through my money that I've spent on Google and like all the things I've done that I met them. You can't be like, you know what, we should shoot with this person next
I think
time.
that's fair.
Yeah.
So a 6-month like thing.
That's it. Just 6 months. Not like so what ended up happening is that the stylist wanted the client. She ended up taking my client and having her shoot with her boyfriend.
Uh,
And like the photos that humbly, they were not great, but they were cheaper. And then they ended up taking the client from me. And I ended up saying it to the designer that recommended the stylist. I'm like, that is like being in the background. You really should shoot with my boyfriend next time.
bad business.
It's like, are you kidding me? I just hired you.
Yeah.
I just hired you to be the stylist here. Like,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be here otherwise.
Yeah.
I just don't.
I think
That's
it's
a boundary
just
too.
100%. And I think, I mean, we should have a whole episode about boundaries. But I think just knowing the difference, like I think, especially when it gets into like client world where you're getting paid, obviously it's a little bit more tricky and dicey to kind of navigate, loyalties and all of that. Because, and I've thought a lot about this because I'm not under the assumption that if someone shoots with me, that they're going to forever want to shoot with me. And I'm the only person in the whole wide world that they'll ever want to shoot with because, and I think some people do think like that, but I think that's silly because people do hire you for your style usually. And I think once they want a different style or a different look, they'll look for people that have that style. And I think that's like normal. But I think sometimes people do get, in this weird space of, it's a tricky, like, it's like the balance of knowing when that's the case and when you're treading on someone else's toes, stepping on someone else's toes.
No,
it's totally
but there
different.
is a complete balance though.
100%.
Like, I would never come into your shoot
and be like, you should shoot with me.
Like, you should come to the studio sometime, like,
Yeah.
on your set.
Like, I'm in Alex's shoots all the time.
All the time.
Not one time have I ever said, oh, I'm a photographer too. You should shoot with
I'm
me.
usually the one
She's
that's
the one that does
she's a
it.
photographer, she's amazing.
But that's
she's
her
awesome.
place. That's her if she feels comfortable doing that. And that's amazing. And that's called good,
I always want Kale on my shoots.
Yeah, we need to have a whole nother episode of boundaries. But regardless, in this situation, raws should have never been sent without a contract, especially.
No.
Whoopsies.
She looks really young though.
Yeah, she does.
Like,
She looks sweet.
she looks
I feel
sweet
bad.
and young. I know, I feel bad too.
I give probably about 7 to 10 raws to her.
7 to 10.
Which is that's very generous in the fact that as a photographer, we don't give out raws. Was there any agreement in place that these raws wouldn't be shared anywhere? They wouldn't be shared on social media or anything like that? Was there any agreement there, or was it just here you go? Like I'm going to give these to you like out of trust?
Yes, it was 100% trust.
So he's a photographer, and he said, we don't give out raws again like every other photographer on the planet. But then he also says, was there an agreement? She's like, nope, sure wasn't. Regretting that decision every day.
Yeah, that's huge.
There was a comment on one of our shorts that about the raws, we were like, people were confused. Some people were like, well, it's her wedding. Why can't she have the raws? And people just don't understand. It's not how that works. It's like an artist painting a picture, even if it's a portrait of somebody else or for somebody else, that's still their work and you have to pay them for it. It's the same thing. It's not just because it's of you doesn't mean that it is yours now. I did the work. It is mine.
Yep.
I paid for the equipment. It is mine.
A lot of laws too. Like,
yes.
So what's interesting too. So if you took a photo of me on my camera, my memory card, all those things, her photos, she owns those photos. It doesn't matter whose equipment is.
It is my work. It's literally like I painted the portrait. It is my piece of art. And I think that's a very good way to explain it because people lose sight of that all the time. And I had somebody was like, oh, like they weren't like being mean or anything, but they were just like, oh, like what if I wanted to like edit my photos in a specific way? Is that impossible to find somebody? And I was like, no, it's not impossible. I have worked with multiple photographers that have given me raw images, but I told her, I was like, usually it's honestly photog to photog because we know that the other person is fully capable
Also,
of editing that
even
photo
cropping.
well. But I did tell her you could try newer photographers. Newer photographers are less controlling over their image, their art image. And so I was like, maybe you could check with newer photographers. They might be a little bit less, antsy about releasing their work.
But then you have experiences like this,
But
and
good
then
luck.
you are very antsy about.
Well,
Because I've had that too.
Yeah.
I mean, all of this is like trial and error.
Mhm.
I think, unless I mean, these type of topics, and you're actually like looking at, like, I didn't even know about this whole scandal if it wasn't for you to like bring it to me. But it's a great scandal to have so many different conversations of like whenever Deanna's always telling me, she's like, whenever something bad happens, it's like a great, or like not bad, but something that you wish would have gone smoother.
Learning.
Like, yeah. So now that's why I have contracts with, like, when you come on set, you've got to sign this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't be trying to hustle off my hustle. That's weird.
Yeah.
People do it.
People do it.
Do it, or don't edit the photos.
I sometimes know that it's I can tell the difference if it's someone just doing it because they like it better or someone doesn't know technology well. Like, for example, my best friend, I shot images of her. I have two. And
Two best friends.
yeah, because before I was like he, and so people are like very confused now. But I have two. But my girl best friend was saying, like, I have taken really cool pictures of her, and she doesn't know. She's really Instagram like dyslexic, or she can't do it. So she always, like, she doesn't know you can like expand out to like the full like rectangle view. So she just thinks it's the square. And so she always, and I'm like, why do you do this every time?
Wait, I don't know that either.
No, you do, because you don't post everything in square, do you? On Instagram?
But I don't know how to like do that. That's why I always have the white borders.
No, there's like a little in the corner, there's like a little arrow, like two arrows like this. And if you push that, it expands to like a rectangle versus the square. So it gives you more space in your image. But I've sent her multiple photos and then she'll post them, but they looked great how I had them, but she'll only post a square because she thinks that's all that will fit. And I'm like, God damn it, you did it again. And she's like, I don't know how to do it.
You're like, undo it.
No, I'm just like, it's fine, you know. But I know that that's a difference in, like, she's not doing that intentionally because she thinks it looks better. She just thinks that's all that can fit, poor thing. Anyway, go ahead. Love you.
We're both wearing black.
I know, we always do this. We always are like on, we don't mean to match, but we usually are on trend.
There was no separate contract made up. There was no NDA, nothing like that regarding that first set of bras.
She's like gonna forever do that now.
Yeah, never again.
Fucking ads, man.
I sent the raws, the 7 to 10 raws. She thanked me for them, sent a little message, you know, again, thanking me for that. And then everything, there was no communication for about a week. And she reached out to me, asked to get on a call with her and her husband. And so we did. We got on a call. Pretty quickly into the call, she addressed their concerns about the editing, texted me some side-by-sides of an edit that she had made to the raw next to my edits, and
she's like, I think I'm a better editor than you.
That they were just unhappy with pretty much all the edits. They appreciated how I captured the moments, but they no longer really liked my editing and asked for all the raws.
You know, she was like dreading that phone call.
So sad though, like.
Yeah, but at this point, I think she's just more like, I would have just been defeated.
Oh God, I would have been sad.
I would have been like, fuck, man, for real? For real? For real?
How are you sitting like this the whole time?
Because I'm really trying to work on my posture. I'm actually not even sitting up that straight because I've realized, do you have cameras in your house?
No.
I have cameras in my house so I can watch my cat.
Are you just like this?
Really? Yeah, I literally look like a little old lady walking around, and so now I'm like on this mission to like get better posture. I didn't know I looked like that, but like seeing yourself on little video clips that you weren't prepared for is like earth shattering.
Like, what's that creature?
It's like this. It's like this. Going to the fridge in my kitchen, like it's really like a little hobbit. Like, it's bad. It's like a little gremlin. So yeah, now I'm like, gotta remember my ballet training. So now I'm just like, I don't care if my back feels like it's going to break in half. I will have good posture. It really does hurt. And my shoulders get really sleepy, really tired. Okay, here we go. This was not the video that we saw on the side-by-side. She was showing people's cell phone footage. This looks great. Whoever did the video looks great. The cell phone footage, I thought she was comparing that to the photos, which I was like, the photos obviously look better than that. Because the video on the film is like grainy and kind of like overcasty. This looks beautiful. Well done. We don't know who the videographer was or how long it took for video, because video takes a lot longer than photo to edit. So I'm assuming that she got the photos first. She was like, oh my God, I love them. And then when she got the video edit, she was like, oh my God, I love this more. That's a
Right.
really good, and then that's probably why she was re-looking at the photos, being like, there's something not right.
Yeah. But
That's
I think
probably
it's
what
really
happened.
important to communicate so it's cohesive,
Mm-hmm.
to communicate with the videographer.
But she could have, this would have been an example, like she could have sent these videos to the photographer and been like, I want it to match this. Easy, piece of cake. Yeah, communication.
In that phone call, I didn't promise anything. I told them I would think about it. Obviously, it's a phone call about 6 months ago, so I don't remember perfectly how everything was said, but I do know I was mostly just trying to withhold saying anything specifically about what, like, I didn't want to commit anything too soon on the phone call without taking time to really think through it. On that phone call, nothing was promised. I probably did bring up that in my contract copyright to 4,000. And the phone call did turn a little bit hostile towards the end. Not on my end. I definitely did not have any ill will towards them. It was just obviously pretty shocking, and I wanted time to like process their request.
Okay, so she actually just said that she actually does have contracts, just general probably shooting contracts, and in that contract she does have a section that copyright to buy the images is $4,000.
Did she say I should have done that, or did she say I did?
No, she said in the contract.
Oh.
There is because the other person was saying, the client was saying she was asking for $4,000 for the RAWs. But if you want to actually edit the RAWs, if you want full rights of those photos, that is buying the copyright. And that's not just something, because the client, maybe she didn't read the contract, which is the importance of reading your contracts before you sign them. But the client was kind of like shocked by this amount, but she did disclose this in her contract. So, you know, read your contracts.
And she gave her 10 free raws.
Yeah, which is not, no one's doing that.
Screwed her.
Screwed her hard.
So, yes.
And when she showed you those side by sides, the side by side like of your edit versus her edit, your golden style, or is it like true to color? Like because that's what we've been seeing is like she edited more like a true to color.
So the image that she has posted in her TikTok is the image that she sent me. It is the side by side of her standing, and obviously her edit is, I would say, light and airy. I would say it was more of a light and airy, true to color. Definitely very different than my style, so I was pretty shocked.
You obviously have a very distinct style, and when you were showed those images that
I would be shocked too. Like if someone came in and that they're like, I just like what you do, I love what you do, and I do what I do, and they're like, we hate it. I'd be like, what?
Well, especially, and then you give them the photos and they edit it completely different. So
Yeah.
that would be like you giving, like you only shoot black and white. Everything on your page is black and white. Someone comes to you, they're like, I love your work, I want to shoot with you. And then they want it in color. And you're like, okay, well, that's not
I don't
my work.
do that. I will.
And if you look at this photographer's page, when I tell you it is all in
It's
this, it's
but
beautiful work.
It's her vibe.
She's very cohesive. She's everything is golden. Nothing is light, airy, true to color with saturated greens and blues. It's not like that. So like it would be strange for someone to expect that out of her. So strange. I think that it was her trying to match the video. Now that I'm thinking about it more timeline wise.
Yep.
I think that's why it took her so much time.
Took
like
a
a
long
month
time
later.
to go through 2,000 images, and then you're like, oh shit, this looks so much better. Which
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, but
like
side
light
by
and airy.
side, I like light and airy too. But like, it's if you're not looking at them, like you were saying, it should have been a conversation like, what are you going to do on the video? What are you going to do on the photo, so they can look like they were on the same day. But because that wasn't done, it does look like it's two different. They're like total opposites,
Yep.
right? It's like super crisp, clean, and very neutral versus golden and vintage. That doesn't look good together because it doesn't go together. So I think if the video would have also been in a warmer golden hour tone, she probably wouldn't have even thought about it.
She edited that were raws that she turned into edited JPEGs. Obviously not representative anywhere of your style and what you produce.
And I decided that I could offer them the RAWs for 3,000, or I could offer them the copyright for 4,000. My contract is clear that no RAWs should be given any time, no exceptions. But obviously I wanted to go above and beyond for her. I wanted her to be happy.
So she
and
is
that
trying
was my
to
way
make
of
the
kind
customer
of
happy.
meeting them in the middle.
By giving her raws. And the client also left out the part about, she just said it was $4,000 for the raws. That's actually not true. It was $3,000. It was $3,000 for the raws and $4,000 for the copyright. So that's a little different. But it wasn't her contract, so you can't be shocked. She was acting like, oh my God, like it was right there in black and white. You signed it. So you knew.
I'm trying to be so quiet. I'm like reading it quiet.
That's fine.
It's so good.
I love these to the end.
I wanted her to be happy, and that was my way of kind of meeting them in the middle, was to even really put the raws on the table.
So when you gave the price, were they like, what was their reaction to that?
Like, I have it everywhere. I never give out raws. I don't give out raws. I'll never give out raws.
I think after this, hopefully people will start learning that's just not a thing. But I would give another photographer raws because I know that they can handle it as long as I get the final approval of edit. Okay. If you edit it and I don't like the edit, I don't want that going out, because it's more like quality control of my work. I don't want anything going out that I don't approve of, period. And I think that makes a lot of sense. Yes. I don't ever want something going up and people being like, you shot that? Like, ooh, you know what I mean? Then not hiring you. Like, it's important for quality control. But I had a model that was like, well, I shot with this other photographer and they gave me all the raws. And I was like, that's nice. That's not happening with me, but that's really nice. But there are photographers that will do it. I think it's more that just out of that they probably shoot a ton and they don't feel like editing it. They're just like, I've had some photographers like that when I used to model that would work with me and they didn't do any editing. So they would just give, the auto-corrected JPEGs and just have a field day, do whatever you want, because they weren't going in and retouching editing. They weren't that kind of photographer, and they shot so much that they're not trying to do all that work. So you can find people like that. It's just more rare these days because I think people are catching on that, like, the rights and things like that, and it is about quality control and consistency in your work. Yep.
Were they shocked by that? Were they, we'll pay it? Like, what happened after you gave them the price tag for the raw photos?
So in my initial email, which was the response to the phone call, I outlined that I had believed I had fulfilled the contract. Obviously, I had tried to go above and beyond with the re-edits to try to work with them, and because their request was the raws, the price would be, XYZ. They came back with a PDF of more concerns outlining different things they weren't happy with, different concerns, address those concerns once again, back to the pricing for the raws, and that I would be happy again to try to work with them further on re-editing if they wanted. And I did not hear from them after that.
After you sent that last email, did you not hear back from her until these TikTok videos started to surface, or was there any communication after that?
There was no communication after the last email that I had sent.
So now I know why she's pissed, because it was alluded to the fact that this photographer was basically like, no, I'm not going to edit any different. I'm not doing anything else. Kind of like bratty, but that's obviously not the case. If she in fact did say, I was willing to try to work with you on re-editing again, and then they just ghosted her and posted this derogatory thing on TikTok. If that is in fact what happened, that is messy.
Fucked up. Well, I'll make sure someone's not stealing my identity.
Oh, okay.
Hello? Okay, you're the best. Have a great day. Thank you for calling me. Okay, bye. Bye.
Bye.
Do you have Amex?
No, but I know they're the best.
The best.
I know. Sean always tells me
that.
Shout out to Amex, sponsor us.
I use it a lot.
Yeah.
All
So
the
does
miles.
Sean.
Yeah.
And we did not talk. I had not heard from her. No.
So all of a sudden you woke up one day and these TikToks of, your images and a past client sharing their complaints about you.
Yes.
What was your reaction when you saw these?
It was definitely a mix of emotions. I will say there was a lot of shock and disappointment.
For rent? What if we told you that you could live somewhere for
free.
only $119
And we own
a
your
week?
soul.
It's not a trick. When you live in a pad split, you get
Have you heard
everything
about
you
this?
need,
No.
all for one low weekly payment.
It's the worst. This is
No.
why
What's the catch?
everything's going to be like this.
There isn't one.
There's a catch.
You
You're
don't
going to
need
live
a
with
credit score to
psychopaths.
qualify,
Yeah.
and we won't make you sign a long lease.
Like a hotel,
Become a member today
Cecil
at
Hotel.
Padsplit.com.
No, yeah, it's terrifying.
Of course, because no photographer would ever want this to happen with a client, would never want it to get to this point. Would try to do everything to avoid it, which I believe I did. I really do believe I went above and beyond with her. I wasn't really shocked because in our communication, there had been, I guess you could just call it a threat, basically saying, I hope I don't have to bring this to social media.
Ooh. You go first.
I mean, I was always kind of like teetering towards the photographer, even in our initial video. I definitely think the photographer made dire mistakes multiple times with not sending examples, not getting examples, not being clear in communication, sending her raws, which I would never do, not having contracts, saying if you do get the raws that you can't do anything or release them. Like there's just a lot of mistakes made, but she'll probably never make those mistakes again. So it's a learning thing. But I definitely think this was just bad. It was just bad, just all around bad. I feel bad on both sides. I mean, it's your wedding day, obviously, so I feel bad. But I also think that she kind of was a bridezilla. Sorry. What do you think?
I'm gonna say I think I'm more on the client side still.
See, we're still the same.
I'm still on the client side because I do think that she effed up, and it's a learning experience. But at the end of the day, she did F up. Like,
Yeah, but it was in her
don't
contracts that you had to pay for the raw. So her being like offended that
I think that was just like the final straw for the client. In my humble opinion, I do think it was the final straw for the client that she was like going back and forth. I will say that with the client still didn't. I mean, the client should have showed the video and been like, this is more what I want, and changed her mind. Or she should have selected a photographer in the beginning before any of this that matched her videographer style, because videographer, I'm sure, has a style, right? Like they do. So I do think just like the choice of photographer and video, like I can't shoot like Kale, like she can't shoot like me because we're different humans. Like, can I try to shoot like her? Yes, absolutely. Like, can we discuss like how our styles could possibly match beforehand? But like if the client was hiring, we matched pretty well with video and photos. But at the end of the day, like I think that it was a bad choice of the combo if she did use the video. And I do think that the photographer really dropped the ball, not showing examples once the girl didn't like something about it, and to have like a sit down conversation, and didn't have a contract saying you can't release these raw images. And I've released raw images before, but they have signed a contract that if you do release them, I will absolutely sue you.
You have to do that
because it is quality control. But I still am client because she wasn't happy at the end of the day. Do I think it was petty and shitty for her to go on TikTok? Yes, I do, because you can possibly ruin someone's career. And
I think she left out a lot of details. Like she wanted the photographer to look as bad as possible, and that's really not nice. Because she left out all of her own mistakes.
Yeah,
it should have been. I would have respected they both made mistakes. So I would have respected the conversation a lot more if I would have heard those mistakes from the client as well, because the photographer made. I was just going to say that I think I think that I would have respected the conversation a lot more, because the photographer actually did take accountability and say when she did make a mistake. So I think she was kind of taking her part, and the client was putting it all on the photographer, which I don't think was fair after hearing both sides. Yeah. She just wanted the photographer to look really bad, and I think that's unfair. And untrue, because the photographer is great. She's a great photographer. I saw her work. She's got beautiful couples work. So, and her stuff is very consistent. I would never expect what this bride wanted out of this photographer.
And I do think that the bride, if she wanted to, is like hire an attorney then. Like if you guys aren't like hire an attorney. Like if you're not happy, what's your end goal? Like the photos are pretty, like they're beautiful, like they're great images. You have video of it. Like I know it's your special day, but at the end of the day, like it, like don't publicly, like they're still beautiful photos.
Well, and you sign a contract, so
right?
You really
Am I being
can't.
crazy?
You really can't come for somebody like that if they told you very upfront that this is what it costs if you want to own the rights to all these images to do whatever you want with them. She gave you that in black and white, so I don't know. I mean, it's just a bad situation all around. But
well, yeah, we were talking like the first episode too that we ever did. I was like, I hate I'm like, is that you're allowed to do that like a Google review? Or like, yes, you're allowed to do Google reviews like that. But when it's like so intense like that, to possibly like really hurt someone's career,
yeah,
it's like.
When then leaving parts out,
And leaving
that's
parts
not
out,
fair.
it's like that's not cool. When you did get like dope images, and there was a solution.
2,000 of them.
2,000 images.
Well, and I don't like the part where if she really did come back and say, I get the part of like maybe she was just being like, well, I asked you to read it before and I didn't like those either. But if the photographer went again saying, I can work with you guys on re-editing again, like she was willing to try to remedy that, and you just were like, F it, I'm just going to take it to TikTok and just blow up your career. I don't know. I don't like that.
I don't like that either. That's where I think
I feel bad.
I feel bad too. I don't think that's where the client messed up. Is like I do think she has a reasonable request that she's not happy with the images. It is a special day. I go back to like you can't do it again. You know? You can't do it. There's
a lot of frustration.
But if I can understand at that point, like with the photographer, is that I think that I would have, even though I would never give out raws, like I do want them happy, that I would have just sat and like done it, because this is so much time that she spent on like defending herself, so many people talking about it. It's just like, just do it.
But then she gave, I don't know though, because like I would never give out my raws. I don't care if you're so unhappy. I don't care. Like I would re-edit for you and try to get to a place where you're happy. But this is exactly what can happen if you do give out the raws.
Don't give out the raws.
Like,
I never got the unless you pay me,
because unless you buy the rights for them. Because if she did give the 2,000 raws, and then this person's releasing all of them, like, you know.
I gotta see my mom. You hold on. Kale's gonna kill me.
It's okay. Okay, that's it. Any other final thoughts?
No.
Contracts, boundaries, clear communication, make your client happy, but also protect yourself. All the things.
With a videographer.
Dude, so much communication. Yeah, but also I know your style. Yep. So I wouldn't edit something that looks completely off brand for you, because I know that isn't your brand. So all of this could have been avoided. I still stand by that. Okay. Oh, secret word. We're getting up there. We're like 105, which is good. Oh. Yeah, only 400 more. You're fine.
Liliana, what's a good word? What's a word? Just like any word. What's your favorite English word?
That word I struggle with. I come here to learn English. So daughter and girl.
Daughter and girl.
All right.
Let's do daughter. Daughter is the secret word of this episode. You'll get 10 extra entries into our giveaway if we're still running said giveaway. If not, you won't even see this clip.
Yep.
Okay. Bye. Bye.